You're there, aren't you? Open up. Give me a break. I was just enjoying our new home. Open the door. Not wanting to cause a disturbance in the neighborhood, I reluctantly opened the front door. Running away from home when you can't even have children. I don't acknowledge you as a daughter-in-law. My husband, his mistress, and his mother were all there. What? For the sake of my new daughter-in-law and the grandchild on the way, I'll take this house as compensation. Please leave. Yeah, get out of here now. That's right, goodbye infertile lady. Well, they really say whatever they want without even knowing they are mistaken. My name is Kelly. I am a 43-year-old office worker. My husband, Ryan, is a year younger than me. We don't have children. I thought children would come naturally, but they didn't. After many discussions, we chose to live just the two of us. I have no regrets. Although the one-bedroom apartment we have lived in since our marriage is small and old, it's not inconvenient. Saving money for our own home and living modestly is enjoyable. I was recently assigned to the planning department at work, which I had always hoped for. The hard work in the sales department paid off. I've been promoted steadily and have become a dependable person in the company. Not having children, my work is not just a job, it's my passion. However, my husband feels differently. What? You quit your job again? Yeah. Without discussing it with me? I was so shocked I was lost for words. My boss was being annoying because I refused a transfer. So you quit because of that? That's how it turned out, but I'm the victim here. It's a wrongful dismissal. I sighed. Then, you should sue them for compensation. No, I don't want to make a big deal out of it. I understand. It's not really a wrongful dismissal. This is just a bad habit of his. He doesn't stick to jobs long. He's not unserious, but he suddenly gets fed up and quits. Switching jobs every 2 or 3 years has become the norm, but it disrupts our finances and lifestyle every time. As a partner, I can't just tell him to endure a job he hates. But we are in our 40s. Repeatedly changing jobs only increases the disadvantages. At times like this, I think it's good we don't have children. I should support him. And when something happens to me, he should support me. I knew that, but re-employment didn't go well, and time just passed. The timing is bad, and surely age and background are issues. My husband is frustrated. He doesn't do housework and just sighs all day at home. If he has time, he should at least clean up the mess he made. I have more right to be irritated than you. I wonder if I should say a complaint. When the house is small like this, there's no escape, and it's tough. Let's calm down. Fighting brings us nothing good. I hold back my urge to blame and watch over my husband. The job he finally got was as a contract worker at a factory. It wasn't what he hoped for, but it's better than being unemployed. We'll try our best little by little. Together, we will be okay. Then one day, I received a call from my mother-in-law. Hello. Kelly? Mother, what's the matter? I heard that you're being cold to Ryan, aren't you? What? I was surprised and let out a strange voice. I had no idea what she was talking about. He's hurt because he was wrongfully dismissed, and you're being harsh, aren't you? Wait a minute, Mother. I don't recall doing that. What do you mean? I'd like to ask that myself. You've been hard on him, telling him to work quickly and to clean up, right? How did it come to this? Indeed, I had said things like, I hope you find a job soon. And, please pick up after yourself. Wrapped in heavy sarcasm. But it was never in a commanding tone. This is also a bad habit of his. He runs to his mother about everything. Moreover, he exaggerates the story. I think my mother-in-law who believes it is also to blame, but I wonder when he will ever grow up. That's too much. Ryan doesn't blame Kelly, does he? Well, there's no reason for him to. What are you saying, Kelly? You deserve to be blamed. It's your fault for not having children. What? There are more important things than work, right? Regret won't bring anything back. Why is it my fault that we don't have children? It seems my husband has been making up very convenient stories. We decided this together, but I feel betrayed. He wants to save face, but siding with his mother and treating me as the villain is like child's pettiness. Since we're going to spend a long time together as a couple, we shouldn't lose trust. With that in mind, I decided to talk to him that night. Please don't exaggerate things to your mother. If you have complaints, I want you to tell me directly. Let's do that for the sake of our future, okay? My husband, clearly annoyed, started fiddling with his smartphone in the middle of our conversation. Hey, listen to me. Quiet, I'm getting work calls. Saying that, my husband stood up. He didn't return to our discussion and went straight to the bedroom instead. Is he in a bad mood or just tired from his factory job? There's nothing I can do. Let's talk another time. But the next day, he refuses to talk again, saying he's tired and sleepy. The following day, he returns home in the morning from a company welcome party. He spends the entire holiday sleeping off a hangover. Then, he's out late at night due to overtime work and socializing. He's clearly avoiding me. Trying to blur the issue won't solve the problem. I hate being blamed by my mother-in-law without any basis. I rub my sleepy eyes, waiting for my husband to come home. I can't postpone addressing this issue just because it's troublesome. Around the time the date changes, my husband returns home in a good mood, humming a tune. I speak to him. Welcome back. Wow. You scared me. What's wrong? Surprising, isn't it? Were you awake? I was waiting for you, Ryan. What? He looks annoyed. Why are you avoiding me? You're annoying. You've been acting strange lately. You're persistent. If you have something to say, leave it in a note. A note? Was the agreement to settle things without a discussion? Ah, remembering such old stuff, you really are persistent. I am dumbfounded. Has he forgotten our marriage vows? I said that an understanding couple was the ideal, and he nodded, saying, I think so. I used to like your seriousness, but now it's inflexible and heavy. That's. If you don't want to lose me, you need to change your attitude. There are other women. What do you mean? Literally. Are you cheating? I have suspicions about his recent actions. You're lying? What have I done? I'm telling you, you're persistent. Do you want a divorce? Don't say that. He clicks his tongue. He pulls out a divorce paper from his bag and roughly thrusts it at me. It's a completed divorce application. Why do you have this? I was asked to write it. By whom? You know without me saying. No, I don't understand. There's a woman who wants me to submit it. I'm speechless. Did his mistress ask him to write the divorce papers? Don't get cocky just because you understand. You're hopeless without me, so know your place. My hands tremble as I hold the divorce papers. I can hear my heartbeat. What time do you think it is? I'm going to sleep. You go somewhere and cool your head. He disappears into the bedroom. I stare at his name written on the divorce papers. What was he thinking when he wrote this? Was he late today because he was meeting his mistress? Supporting his new job, what a ridiculous wife I have been. My head spins in confusion. I can't think of anything. Just as he said, I need to cool my head. I silently take my valuables and personal belongings and leave the house. A month later. I haven't returned home since then. I tried contacting Ryan several times, but there was no reply. This room is quiet and comfortable. It calms my mind. The sunlight is good here, and the light coming in through the window brightens the still empty living room. The ventilation is also good. When the cold air touches my cheek, I instinctively take a deep breath, and the smell of wood seeps in. That's when. Kelly, you're there, aren't you? Open up. An irritating voice made me frown. This loud and clear voice belongs to my mother-in-law. Give me a break. I was just enjoying our new home. Kelly. Not wanting to cause a disturbance in the neighborhood, I reluctantly opened the front door, clearly annoyed. I knew you were here. Long time no see. She seemed happy as she said that, trying to barge in, so I pushed her back. Wait a minute, please. What's wrong? What happened? Can you see my face clearly? I'm refusing, aren't I? Oh, this is quite nice. For some reason, Ryan was there behind my mother-in-law. Who is this young gal standing next to him? Smells like a new building, nice. It's nice, isn't it? The three of them naturally tried to enter the house. It's too much to bear. Wait. How did you find out about this place? What do you mean, how? First, answer my question. Why does Kelly always do such terrible things to Ryan? What? Leaving everything behind and running away from home is the worst thing a wife can do. Just because you don't like Sarah. Sarah. Ah, she's this gal. I see, she's approved by my mother-in-law. Wait. Did I run away? I felt like I was told where to go and was driven out by Ryan. While Ryan is snuggled up close to the gal, he looks at me provocatively. It's a ready-made house, but the number of rooms is just right, and the interior design is passable. I'll forgive you for buying a new house on your own. What? But living together is impossible. After all, a childless you is bad for social appearance. What are you even talking about? Be thankful for all the time I've spent with you. What? I tilt my head in confusion, baffled by what she's saying. Ryan, I'm tired from standing, I want to sit down. Yeah, Sarah, sorry. Kelly, let Sarah sit inside the house. No. What? Sarah is pregnant with Ryan's child. Pregnant? That's news to me. Yet, surprisingly, I am not as shaken as expected. Why is that? Is it because I can't believe the reality after such shocking events, or is it that I no longer feel anything? A pregnant woman should be respected, something a childless Kelly wouldn't understand. Oh, really? Don't you get it? I acknowledge Sarah as my daughter-in-law, not you. We'll take this house as compensation, so leave. Yeah, get out of here quickly. Yeah, good riddance, infertile lady. How can they say such things? They're unaware of their own misunderstandings. I cannot give you this house as compensation. Even if you tell me to leave, this house is in my name. What? Actually, we are already divorced, aren't we? What? Surprise on the faces of my husband and mother-in-law. Is it really that shocking? Wasn't it you who handed over the completed divorce papers? Kelly, what do you mean? Weren't you planning to start a new life with us? I had no such intention. My mother-in-law is flustered, and Ryan is furious. What are you saying? This house was purchased with my money. What? Unbelievable. They haven't read a single email I sent. You really don't know anything, do you? The night Ryan handed me the divorce papers, everything I had endured as his wife suddenly vanished, and I was filled with a sense of liberation. I felt so happy that I couldn't think of anything else. Is this the start of my free life? When I realized that, I got so excited that I felt dizzy. Gleefully, I signed the wife section of the divorce papers and submitted them to the city hall first thing the next morning. I divided our savings in half and transferred Ryan's share to his account. Considering what I had earned so far, I believe most of the savings were rightfully mine, but I wanted to avoid any disputes. I think we should communicate through lawyers from now on. I informed him via email. With half of the divided savings and a subsequent bonus, I made a down payment on a new house. The rest was covered by a mortgage. A mortgage? How can a housewife get a mortgage? His condescending words left me astounded. If you kept switching jobs, you wouldn't be able to get a mortgage, would you? What? You wouldn't know since you don't manage the household finances, but my salary is twice what yours is. Perhaps my words wounded his pride, as he turned red and trembled. Even Sarah seemed taken aback by this. Ryan, this isn't what you told me. You said we'd live in a luxurious new house, didn't you? Oh, calm down, Sarah. My poor, flustered ex-husband. I had been the one supporting the household all this time. Living with a new wife and mother-in-law together was out of the question. Kelly. She seemed ready to explode with anger. This is unacceptable, it's fraud. Mother, who wrote the divorce papers first? And who made him write them? It was your future daughter-in-law there, the one you'll be supporting, right? It's great that she's having your grandchild. No, I'll take the house. Her snort showed her arrogance. That's impossible. Such a big house is wasted on you alone, isn't it? I plan to live here with my parents eventually. What? What is a daughter-in-law saying? No, I am no longer your daughter-in-law, we have no relation. And who knows, I might meet someone wonderful again. Of course, I wouldn't say that out loud. What am I supposed to do? I was all set to live in this house. She looked dejected. What happened to the apartment you were living in? That old place? I sold it. You sold it. I happened to see you moving appliances into this new house and immediately contacted Ryan. He invited me to live together. So that was it. What's left is the small, old one-room where I used to live. Not that I feel any sympathy. I thought I'd be secure in my old age living in a new house with a young, obedient daughter-in-law and grandchildren, instead of a tough career woman like Kelly. Please stop speaking ill of others while feeling sorry for yourself. Who are they calling tough? I had to be strong because my husband was so pitiful. Ah, what a disappointment. But I'll tell everything to my dad. Sarah seemed resigned. What? Wait, that's... It'll be trouble if my dad gets angry. You better take responsibility. Sarah. Please, not that. Why did my husband get such a young girl pregnant? Well, she was a clerk at his company, and after a drinking party, things happened, and it hit the mark on the first try. She was actually the daughter of a factory manager, raised in a girls' school, and despite her flashy looks, she had no experience with men. My husband was her first, and of course, she didn't know he was married. The typical cheater's line. My wife and I are cold, we're getting divorced soon. She believed him and even prepared the divorce papers to bring to him. She'll make a very considerate bride, won't she? Best wishes for your happiness. Well, that's the situation. Please feel free to do as you like now. Wait. My ex-husband clung to the door, not letting me close it, which was frightening. Kelly. Don't you have any maternal instincts? What do you think a new life being born means? Kelly, if we can't get compensation, we'll take this house as a childbirth gift. With a broad smile, I told my desperate ex-husband and former mother-in-law. Congratulations, goodbye. I mercilessly closed the door and locked it. I planned to leave everything to my lawyer, but it wasn't going to be that easy. After all, these are the kind of people who would audaciously demand someone's house, so they wouldn't back down easily. I could ignore the bitter emails from my ex-husband by replying, "Please communicate through lawyers," and then dismissing them. However, the problem was my mother-in-law. She left long messages on my voicemail, which was really annoying. Because of Kelly, I've become homeless. Can you at least arrange another apartment for me? This house is cramped and suffocating. When I asked my daughter-in-law to do the housework, she said, "Why don't you do it?" What am I supposed to do now? I immediately wanted to delete this voicemail, but it might be useful to save it in case her demands escalate. After all, she's quite brazen. Then one day, an uninvited guest arrived at my home. I was so startled by the sudden ringing of the doorbell, I thought it might be my husband or mother-in-law, and I've considered calling the police as I answered with my smartphone in hand. Standing there was a man with a fierce look. I was on guard. I felt like I had seen this man somewhere before, but I couldn't possibly know such an intimidating man. Could this be a scam, pretending to be a door-to-door salesman? Who might you be? I'm John, the factory manager. Then it hit me. Sarah's father, the factory manager. She had mentioned telling her dad. My ex-husband and Sarah appeared behind him, smirking. They've brought some tough-looking backup. Dad, tell him. Father, please make her suffer. The factory manager's lips formed a tight line, and his brow furrowed deeply. He was clearly very angry. What if they demand compensation or childbirth expenses? I decided to call the police, but just as I was about to look at my phone. I'm truly sorry. Excuse me? He apologized deeply. I apologize. Then, he grabbed my ex-husband and Sarah by the head and forced them to apologize deeply. Apologize. Deeply. Ow, ow, ow. My neck is going to break. Dad? Why? This isn't what we talked about. I watched in astonishment. What on earth was happening? Don't misunderstand. I brought them here to apologize to you. What? I'm truly sorry. My daughter took your husband and even demanded your house. Yes, that's correct. My ex-husband and Sarah began to panic. Dad, you knew? I knew. Everything you told me about being deceived and losing your home, it was all lies, wasn't it? Where did you hear that? Your mother told me everything. The factory manager clenched his teeth, visibly furious. He explained that he had been seduced by my former mother-in-law, who said, "Now that we are relatives, let's get along well, in many ways. Your daughter took my son. We should have a good relationship too. Just buy me an apartment, and you can visit whenever you like." Of course, the factory manager politely refused. I was speechless. To think she was my mother-in-law. You've been making convenient stories, and I'm disappointed in you and your mother. But I've been faithful to my wife. Don't mess with me. Stop it, Dad, you're scaring me. You too. What? I've spoiled you too much because you're my only daughter. You both are unnecessary at my factory. There's a place with a tough environment, go work there and shape up. What? The factory manager then turned to me. Can you forgive us now? Yes. But why go to such lengths? I hope we can maintain a good relationship going forward. I was completely baffled and watched as he apologized deeply again. Then, it struck me. Ah, he was the manager of the sales department where I used to work long ago. I apologize for not recognizing you sooner. I apologized in return. There's been a merger, and I'm managing the new factory. It's understandable you didn't recognize me. I see. I couldn't believe your ex-husband was working at my factory. He looked away, troubled. Has my former husband caused any trouble? He has a poor work attitude, doesn't learn, and has unexcused absences. You were so competent, in contrast. I could imagine my ex-husband's lackadaisical behavior, which was all too predictable. Now that I was no longer his wife, there was nothing for me to defend or apologize for. I could only give a wry smile. I intend to retrain him from scratch. I won't let him come here ever again. My ex-husband shrank, and Sarah looked displeased. You were always good at training newbies, weren't you? Yes, I'll be very strict. I'll be supporting you from afar. Even with the factory manager's efforts, it seems difficult for my ex-husband to reform. He really needs to change his mindset and make an effort himself. For the sake of the innocent baby that's on the way. There's one thing I regret. I wish I had corrected the misunderstanding that infertility was my fault. We had once gone to the hospital together to investigate the cause of our infertility. There was no issue with me, but Ryan was diagnosed with asthenozoospermia. While it wasn't impossible for natural conception, we were told it would be challenging. The fact that Sarah got pregnant from just one mistake with my ex-husband was either a miracle, a matter of good compatibility, or perhaps the child isn't his. But honestly, that doesn't matter to me anymore. John informed me about their situation in passing, during a work-related call. Apparently, the couple and my mother-in-law ended up living in that old, cramped one room for a while. They promised to save money for the baby and to work seriously as conditions for living together in the future, but Sarah quickly grew impatient with that lifestyle. No surprise there. Ryan probably didn't know, since I managed our finances, but living on his income alone would be just about impossible, if not utterly so. If they lived freely as 3 adults without saving, the savings I gave them during the divorce would quickly run out. Sarah went back to her parents' home after giving birth and never returned. During that time, my ex-husband grew to hate his job and quit. In a panic, the former mother-in-law demanded that her daughter-in-law and grandchild be returned and that they take care of her, which apparently led to a police incident. Pathetic. Everyone's just too selfish. But I'm no longer involved, so I declined further updates. Hang in there, John. The new house is very comfortable. I worried about being alone and what to do if I got sick, but I've never thought. It was good that my husband was home. It's just like when I was living alone before. I believed that spouses should support each other, but my husband was just leaning on me. Losing someone who was unnecessary to my life doesn't bother me at all. 7 years later. My parents, whom I invited from the countryside, and a former colleague from the sales department, now live in the house I've grown accustomed to. He was the man I always competed with for the top sales position. After I moved to the planning department, he missed our competition and said he sometimes wanted to see me. I felt the same. When he learned I had divorced, he immediately asked me out, and now he has become a husband I truly trust. We've worked together for many years, and he's someone with whom I can express my feelings freely without holding back. He is truly the ideal man. Here's to many more years together.